Yeah, it does
It's like
look pretty damn cool.
all I know is that it comes from like late UC, like around F91 victory time.
Ah.
Because like sitting right next to it in the box was a freaking gun ease. Speaking of which, the Reborn 100 of that thing, actually a decent little kit. It feels like much high grade, but just bigger. And this should serve as my warning to go take some allergy meds today. It's warm enough to have the windows open, and that means pollen everywhere. Be right back.
All right, you go do that.
These are the one a day things, right? One a day. There. Once that kicks in, I should be good for the remainder of the day. Come on. There. Take that off. Suckers. This I can just take the whole backpack off. These both off to the side. Should have known. Good thing I took my. I'm back.
All right. I am sending out the messages on Discord.
Last time didn't work, so this time we're trying again. Different game.
So I'm gonna need you to keep an eye out on the comments.
Oh sure. I've got the stream right. I've got the stream right here. I can see the comments. You're good.
All right. Because
I didn't think I'd be here and not have a job to do. So.
Because without, like, with the VR, I will not be able to see what I'm doing.
I know. This is not the first time you've done VR on chat on the stream, so. You can count on me, boss.
All right. My hair looks crazy. All right, so hello and welcome. You're probably wondering what the hell I'm wearing on my face. It is a techno xenomorph. No, um, it's a V.
I bought a reality transporter and slapped it on Bear's face. We're gonna use it to teleport to a boat and a submarine that I rented for this whole trip.
Yeah, so the time machine didn't work out as well as we had hoped. So we
Dialga yelled at me for it.
What?
Dialga yelled at me for that little time travel escapade.
Yeah, a lot of time gods came after us. We had to do some
I
stuff.
didn't think the doctor could throw hands like that.
We had to do some stuff that we're not entirely proud of. Anyway, yeah, we are playing Titanic VR today since Adventure at a Time decided to be a technological nightmare. Okay, just making sure. All right, can you see it?
Yep, I just saw the title.
Good. Damn it. All right. We'll start with a new game. On the 10th of April, 1912, Titanic set sail from Southampton. Okay. On the 14th of April, 1912, at 11:40 p.m., Titanic struck an iceberg. It took two. Okay.
2 hours and 40 minutes for the ship to sink, killing roughly 1,500 people, approximately. The shipwreck was left undisturbed until its discovery in the mid-80s. Unfortunately, ever since that had said discovery, people have kept going back to see the ship, and it's been speeding up the poor thing's deterioration. And there's actual litter down there now.
There's actual what?
Litter.
Oh.
Garbage. Things people have let go as a ballast to get back up because apparently, for a while, commercial visits were a thing. And then there's the grave robbers.
Oh yeah, the grave robbers.
Alright, I've reached the seabed. Can't see much.
And evidently an ice cream man going around the neighborhood I live in.
And back to manual control. Shall we run an equipment test?
Hold on. Really? Oh. Okay. Gotta get this right.
Yeah, the matter decombobulator can be a bit disorienting.
Alright, let's run through the controls on the panel in front of you. The center left joystick allows you to move the submersible forward, back, left, and right. The center right joystick controls the Great. Now let's check the altitude controls. The lever on the far right allows you to ascend and descend.
Okay.
If you look down at your hands, you can see your controllers. The top button on your right controller is the info button. Holding down the info button will bring up the control diagram for your handpieces. If it feels more comfortable, you can operate the submersible using these controls on your handpieces instead of physically moving the levers.
Great. How do I interact with objects?
You can interact with objects in the submersible by touching the object with your controller, and then pull the trigger to use. If you ever get stuck, just hold down the info button again to bring up the controls diagram.
Will do.
Right, now we'll move on to the map and missions. You'll see in the middle of the console in front of you is a map. It shows your current location as a blue pointer at the bottom of the screen. As you approach the wreck, it will slowly appear on the map. The yellow icon is your current goal location, so you know where you should be heading. I'll update the map and your goal locations as we go through contracts.
Right.
The screen just to the left of the console displays the mission log. It shows your current goal task. So if you aren't sure what you should be doing or looking for, check the mission log and map for more information.
Got it.
Okay, you'd better place a marker before we head too far. Interact with the button next to the map
fiddle with
to
the
place
audio
them.
settings a little
Marker's
to
been
hear
placed.
the game.
You can head
That
towards
seems
the
more like a
bow.
problem on my end,
So, I had a call from our main sponsor.
Problem?
No, all fine. Just voicing her excitement about us finally diving. Said she's looking forward to seeing what we can do. I've set up a call for 8 p.m. this evening.
Okay,
For
let's try it now.
$45,000 a day, let's just hope we find something.
What's up?
Never mind the money. My doctorate is riding on this.
Yeah, I just altered some audio settings because I was having difficulty hearing the game. I figured it was my end.
Right. I should get my lights ready now that I'm getting close to the bow.
The far left lever controls your sub's lights. To turn the spotlights on and off, interact with the button in front of the lever.
Whoa.
There's something you don't see every day.
She's a beauty.
Damn.
Okay, first things first. We've got a contract
Well,
with the Titanic Society
Here she is.
to place their commemorative plaque on the forecastle deck. Get yourself into position.
All right.
I do get mildly irked when people pronounce forecastle as folk. Like,
Coming
when
up
they
to it now.
pronounce it that way instead of folksel like it's supposed to be.
You'll need the Predator for this task.
Ah, the ROV.
Yep, courtesy of Flight Avionics and the latest in augmented reality technology. If you look up, you'll find a set of VR goggles and a control panel. To deploy, the controls to maneuver the Predator are the same as the submersible. Make your way over to the plaques already laying on the deck, and remember that the range is only up to 15 meters. The advantage of driving without an umbilical.
Is there any way to boost the signal?
Yeah, but we need to upgrade the deep-sea transmitter,
Ooh,
and they
fishy.
don't come cheap. The generosity of our sponsors and UNS funding only goes so far. If we complete these contract jobs, we might just be able to afford some upgrades.
What happens if I go out of range?
The automatic recall kicks in. ROV comes straight back to the sub.
I'm here.
Great. The plaque we're placing is in the Predator's inventory. You can access it through the menu.
Ah, how do I open the menu?
You can open the menu by pressing and releasing the info button. While in the menu, you can check your Just remember what I said about these new ROV inventories. The range is only up to 15 meters. Items in the inventory, use the laser pointer to highlight the item and pull the trigger to select.
Okay, I'll place the plaque down on top of the flashing beacon.
These are all credits for the game, I think.
There are some that are actual genuine plaques placed on the ship, but I think for the most part these are credits.
Because like I'm just seeing Titanic VR and the VR education thing on all these plaques. Even this one.
I'll take a photograph with the onboard camera for the society.
Great idea. They'll appreciate that. You can access the camera through the ROV inventory. Open up the menu again and select the camera icon from the inventory screen.
Done. I'll head back to Sedna.
No need. Just press the top button on your left controller. This is the return button. Now you're back in the sub. Recall the ROV by pressing the button next to the ROV goggles. It's above you on the right.
Where to now?
Hull breach on E deck. I'll mark it on your map.
We're heading for his cabin, right?
I'm happy to have
That's
gotten
right.
this far.
Eyewitness
I had to
testimonies
pull
that
some
Henderson
favors with a
kept to
lot
journal.
of friends to
It
get
should
here.
tell us more about his activities on the final night.
I presume I'm looking for some kind of trunk.
For instance, the matter
Henderson had a
decombobulator you're
briefcase
wearing on
listed
your
the
face.
manifest. With
I had
any
to
luck,
talk to
it's still in
a
his room.
robot who broadcasts anime for a living in space for it.
How's Tom been, by the way?
Well, chill as always.
Well,
Dr. Lynch,
Yeah?
why are we doing this?
He's
$45,000
still
a
looking
day at sea.
into
No,
the
I know, but
weird
that just about
intricacies
covers the cost
of
the
the
expedition.
bizarre
I meant,
time
like, why
travel
are we taking this
recreation
job
of
in
his
particular?
ship.
Well, put it this way. Why do you think she hired us?
forgot that happened.
Because we're academics?
Yes, but more specifically, we respect the history. It would have been cheaper for
When I
us
headed down
sponsor
to
to
the
just
vehicle
hire
bay, there was a
salvage team.
Gundam right there.
And why do you agree to take it?
Funding like this comes once
Weirdly
in a blue
enough,
moon,
it was
and I wanted to see her
identical
up
to
close.
one I was
This
planning to
breach is from
build
the
in the
impact with the
future.
ocean floor. Anything in here is going to be messy.
I'll keep my eyes peeled.
It's towards the top
Like, even
of the breach.
had the little
Look for the
signature
flashing
thing
beacon.
he was gonna
I
put on
really hope
a
it's
little
briefcase
computer
as well.
console.
Briefcase. I just need to pick it up by holding down one of the triggers to interact.
Wait,
WJH. I think this is it.
Well, that's lucky.
God damn it.
Are you going to open it?
No, not here.
It was the
Assuming there's
one I was
anything
gonna
intact
build in the
there, it'll
future.
start degrading as soon as I open the case. I'll have to bring it back to the lab before we can
Well,
take a
great.
peek.
Future me beat me to it.
You should put the briefcase in the Predator's
I'm gonna
storage
kick
then.
my ass.
Just open and close the menu again by pressing and releasing the info button. The briefcase will appear in the ROV's inventory as a selectable item,
Time
and you'll
travel's a
have your
headache.
hands free again.
Kinda glad
Right.
he stopped
If this
doing
is the
that.
last task for today, I'll head back
I'll
to the
kick
lab.
anyone's ass. I'll kick your
Activate
ass.
the
I'll
autopilot
kick
and get comfortable.
his ass. I'll kick my own ass.
Rodan, wait.
Rodan, no. Rodan, yes.
Rodan, no. Now hang on. And I'll be... Okay. Kirimetaro says, oh, you figured out PCVR.
Yep. Kind of. This is as far as my hand will go because it's hitting my TV screen. There we go.
All right. I'll see you in about 2 hours.
I will be right back.
Alright, well, I'm going to take this off for a second. Give my eyes a break. Oh. Hello, Taro.
You were saying, Kraken?
Huh? You say something? My sandwich. Drink my drink and try to calm my stomach down.
I am back with snacks. Figured I'd get some popcorn.
Well, while you were away, I ate a sandwich, drank some root beer.
I swear, I can only hear two things whenever someone mentions root beer anymore.
Okay, I'm back in the lab. I need to complete the tasks listed on the whiteboard by teleporting around the room and interacting with the recovered items and preservation
Two
stations.
things both from cartoons.
When I complete the task, the next task
First
will
is
appear on the
return
board.
to Cowardly Dog. I say,
I
don't
can
you want
rotate
your
on the
root
spot
beer?
using the right thumb pad and interact with items using my controllers.
Okay, the other one was from SpongeBob.
To teleport,
Well, what about
I
root
need to
beer?
press on the left
Root
thumb
beer.
pad while aiming at one of the chairs. Let's get this cleaned up. Silver doesn't look great after being in the ocean. This tobacco tin is covered in silver sulfide. I'll have to gently wash this using a soft brush, making sure I don't scratch the surface underneath.
Okay, that's weird. I'm just seeing your streaming setup instead of the game now.
Better?
It's still there.
Son of a
Okay,
bitch!
now it's better. And then it moved again.
Hold on.
The curse of being on delayed audio.
Ugh.
Okay, that's better.
It's come up great.
Hello.
What did you get here?
Bone hair cone. I'll need to wash the salt out quickly before it crystallizes and the bone starts to crumble. It's ready for drying in the acetone bath.
Okay, so fun fact. People actually do this with artifacts recovered from the Titanic. This way they can be preserved and put in museums.
Nice.
Some artifacts are too
These
far
banknotes are
gone,
delicate,
but
and will need a good
others
rinsing in the
can be
desalination
cleaned
bath.
and
Then we can treat
to
them with
some
fungicide
extent
to keep them clean
and
before freeze drying them.
preserved. For instance, as far as my own sense of logic is concerned, that batch of money is probably too far gone.
Probably.
There's some interesting quirks about the wreck and the way it's settled. In one of the first class rooms still aboard the wreck, there's a glass that would have been filled with water at the sink in the room. It's still in its cabinet, sitting upright.
Huh.
It more or less is sitting the way it was placed there the last time it was used, over 110 years ago.
Guess I freeze dried the money too soon. There we go.
I admit, if I ever got myself a VR setup, this would probably be one of the first games I played.
You know what? I can imagine that.
This leather case is looking pretty sturdy, but it will need a good soaking in the desal tub to remove the salt. Then I can give it a gentle scrub with the nylon brush.
Come on,
This journal
there we
is
go.
pretty special. The pages seem to be a fabric paper blend. I think the desalination bath will leach out the salt. Then I can go into the PEG station before freeze drying.
So here's a fun, I guess, funny
Special
story
package.
about
That's interesting.
some of what I went through in high school.
Looks like a receipt for a telegraph sent on the night of April 14th.
So,
That's
a
strange. I haven't found any
particular
reference
other
to what being
student
sent.
named
I
Kyle.
wonder what it said.
Yes, that was his
We
name.
can
I
check with
don't
our
care
sponsor when she
if
calls.
I'm
We could also search the
dropping
first
that
class
much.
purser's
I'm not
office
dropping
tomorrow.
his last
See if we
name.
can find the record book. Passengers placed and paid for their telegraph messages at the purser's office. And the record book would give us confirmation if the telegraph message was organized.
I don't know
We could
what
also check the
happened because,
Marconi room to check if
we
the
were
message survived.
friends for a
Telegraph
while,
is
or
our
at the
sponsor.
very
We
least,
can
we
tell you
talked
the
to each
news.
other and we weren't hostile.
Hi, team. How are you both?
Hi, Jillian. We're doing great.
We've just finished cleaning the artifacts we found today. We managed to access Henderson's cabin and retrieve his
Then
briefcase.
one day he
Wonderful.
just
Inside
straight
we
up
found his journal, a few personal
takes
items
one of
still in good
the
condition. One interesting
one of
item
the
is
science
a
class
receipt for a
books,
telegraph sent on the night of the
open
sinking.
and tells me
That is interesting.
to open it up and
I
take a
didn't know
look
William
at the
sent a
passage on
message.
That's what
buoyancy.
we thought.
It's possible it wasn't sent, and that it's stored in either the
And
purser's office or
being
the
my
Marconi room.
naive,
We're
stupid
thinking
self
our
at the
next dive should
time,
be to
I
explore
did
these
because
rooms.
I was like,
I
hey,
know
okay,
teams have
what's
searched
this
the
about?
Marconi room before, but I didn't think the purser's office
Turns
was
out
accessible.
he
Yeah, up till now
scribbled
it's been off
all
limits due
over
to the
the
size
image of
of
the
our ROV,
Titanic that was
but ours
used
is
for the
small enough to
example in
access
the
it. We're
passage
hoping
on
we might find the
buoyancy,
purser's record
and
book
wrote a
with the
bunch of
message
very
listed.
mean stuff.
As for the Marconi room, other dives
Huh.
have shown most of the furniture is deteriorated. But
I
the telegraph
instantly
canisters
reported
might
it to
have
the
survived.
teacher for it and got it
Sounds
kicked out of
plausible.
class for the day.
If you find anything, I'd love to see the message he sent. I've only the letters from Southampton.
I noticed something odd in his journal. On the 14th he mentions carrying some special package, but I'm sure he didn't have anything reported in the manifest. Do you have any idea what it could be?
Well, in his last letter, he wrote about returning home with a present for my great-grandmother. I'll do a bit of research on my end. I can check over the manifest again to see if we missed anything.
Great. We'll let you know if we find anything tomorrow. I'm sending over photos of the items we found today.
Thanks, I really appreciate the regular updates. It's making writing much easier. We'll talk again soon.
Well, shall we call it a day?
Not quite. Gillian was kind enough to order in a stronger transmitter for our ROV. We'll need to fit it before the dive tomorrow. Otherwise, we won't be able to reach the purser's office.
Like, I need to replace the transmitter in the
It's
ROV
waiting for you
with the
over
one on
there.
the table next to it. Thanks.
You know, something I
need to
just
replace
thought
the
of
transmitter
now.
in the ROV with the one on the table next to it.
In
I
the
need to lift the
Digimon
black
story
to
that
place the
we've been
transmitter,
working on,
Then lift the bar up to put the
if
sample
Digimon are
all
as
ready to
enraged
go
in
for tomorrow.
society as I've made them
I'll
out
see
to
you in the
be,
morning then.
I can see like a bunch of Samarimon being used for jobs like this.
Oh yeah.
Radio check, Wilson.
Coming in nice and clear, Doctor.
Samarimon, Waymon,
Great.
stuff
First
like
up is
that.
the purser's office on C deck, correct?
Correct. To access it, you'll need to head down through the hole where the forward grand staircase was. I'll mark it on your map.
Though I can imagine they'd only
deck
be
is pretty
useful up to
compressed from
certain
what I've heard.
depths because even they have
the
their
impact
limits.
with the sea floor bent most of the supporting pillars, so they're struggling with the weight of the floors above.
With the rate of decay increasing, it won't be long before it all collapses. I'm glad we've had a chance to come down here and see it for ourselves before all this becomes inaccessible.
Like, the idea came to me because I remembered a little something
she was
Red had
sinking
said
past me,
about how
and all of a
you know,
sudden she lifted up
Trailmon
quickly.
being used
Everything
as mass
crashed.
transport
Everything that
instead
was
of like
movable was
older
going
style
through her.
trains.
And then she went down.
It'd be
and
more
seemed to
efficient as
come
long
up
as you
again.
keep them fed.
So I thought, well,
They
no,
are
I'm going to
a
leave.
much
And,
more
I was hanging on to a
environmentally
board.
friendly
We had
alternative
two
option
boards
to
starboard and
most
port,
trains
which said,
nowadays.
Keep clear of propeller
Right.
blades. And I was hanging on to one of these, and I was getting higher and higher in the air. And I thought, well,
Like, just
I'll
imagine,
go,
in
and
that
I
world,
dropped
it's
in,
actually
pedaled
more
up,
common to
and
travel by
I hit
Trailmon
the
than it is
water
to
with
own a car.
Terrific crack. Luckily, I didn't hit anything when I dropped in. There were bodies all over the place.
I do like
And
that
then
they
I looked
sprinkle
up the
in
Titanic.
actual interviews.
The propellers were right out of water. The rudder
Oh,
was
yeah.
right out, and I could see the bottom. And then gradually she glided away, and that was that. That was the last of the Titanic. I didn't want to die. I mean, I didn't see much chance of living, but I was gradually getting frozen up. And by the grace of God, I came across a lifeboat. And they
You know, on a
pulled me
quick
in.
tangent, since I know you said your bearmon likes fish, how does he feel about water?
He is fine with anything that is like... He's okay with being submerged, but if it's too deep, like say this, he freaks out.
Yeah, I can imagine.
He's
Being
fine
trapped in
with...
a metal capsule at the bottom of the ocean is not something I consider pleasant.
Well, I mean... I just mean like a big... Like...
You'll need to be careful of debris when descending with the Predator. It might make it easier if you position your sub so the lights shine down the void.
Good idea.
So if you were to go camp with a buddy at a lakeside cabin, and your bearmon would be content with it swimming at the edge of the lake.
Like, depends on how deep the lake is.
That's why I say at the edge.
All right, so
It's
yeah.
like if it's deep enough for boats
Deploying
to comfortably
Predator.
travel
Starting to
around, he'd be sticking to the edges.
Yeah, probably. He's okay with being submerged, but like as long as he can come back out.
Okay, that puts an idea for a joke in my head.
I think this is what's left of the
Here we
grand
are.
staircase.
Great. The purser's office and inquiry desk are on the
Yep,
starboard
you're on the
side.
money.
You'll need to go over the desk to get into the side room.
Right, I'm here.
Like that shaft you just drifted down runs the remains of the grand staircase.
This area hasn't been explored
The forward
before.
one, at least.
We don't know what we'll find in here.
To think the last person in this room would have been Chief Purser McElroy.
The record book would have been kept in a leather pouch.
Grab people. Grab people.
Like, believe it or not, there are things that can live down there in that depth and darkness.
Yep.
I don't see it here.
Maybe try the safe back out in the inquiry office.
Thank God there are no anglerfish down here.
Yeah, those things are creepy.
The doors are rusted shut. We can't check inside.
Is the pouch among the debris?
No, I can't see the
To
leather
think that
pouch
that's
anywhere.
what the
It might be out
Pokemon
of luck.
Lantern was based off of, like...
We'll have to hope the Marconi room gives us some answers.
While we're here, we should collect a sample of the rust on the safe doors. NCPA regularly check for new species of bacteria living in rusticles, and I'm sure they'll want a sample of this.
I'll take a photograph of the scene too. They'll need to see the rusticle formations as well.
Rusticles.
Done. We'd better move on to the Marconi room.
I'll mark it on your map. You'll need to head back to the sub to get there.
You'd think that it was in such an environment that it couldn't possibly rust or deteriorate, but you'd be wrong.
Salt water, baby.
Like, they legit named this particular strain of rust bacteria after the Titanic because they'd never seen this before.
Yeah, this is definitely what's left of the grand staircase.
I can confirm.
The Marconi room isn't too far from here, just between the first funnel and your current position.
How do I get in?
Either through the skylight or the corridor.
Jellyfish!
Up to you which you feel is safer.
Right, I don't want to damage the wreck. Or the ROV.
Would you believe there's still people who are arguing that not only could the Titanic still be raised, but it should?
If they try to raise it, it's just gonna fall apart.
More so than it already is, yeah. The thing is basically in such a state, trying to move it at all, even in smaller pieces, would just make it disintegrate. But, like, it's not even so much the fact that they think we could raise it, but they think we should. That gets me a little miffed. Like, yes, I can see your argument. You want to preserve what's left of the ship for her future generations to see and learn from, but on the other hand, it's already so far gone, and it's a mass grave.
Yeah. Thousands of people died here. Like, lifting the ship up, not only would it, like, disturb whatever's living here.
And even if we did, the amount of technological endeavor it would require is, like, insane. It would be the most expensive thing humanity has done in ages. Okay, stop. You passed the bathtub that I wanted to point out. Like, if I recall, I don't know if that's supposed to be Captain Smith's bathtub or just a random one, but they did point one of these out in, like, a bunch of wreck photos I found when I first started studying this whole thing. I'm genuinely surprised it's still in this condition this long after the wreck.
Well, there's no sign to indicate if this is just a regular bathroom or anything, but
alright. This has been Latios' Tangent. You may proceed.
we found the elevators. I know it's... Oh, hey.
As far as I know, the elevator itself is still in the shaft somewhere.
I know it's a little morbid, but I can just imagine the guy from Titanic Adventure at a Time, like, his skeleton is, like, right here, and it still has the little bellboy hat.
That is morbid. Funny, but morbid.
I was about to say, it is a little funny, though, right? Don't let it be for nothing.
Like, it is funny. Morbid, but funny. Dark humor. Yeah, like, see how freaking thin some of these hallways are? People with our builds in modern times would have difficulty navigating some parts of this ship.
Oh, absolutely. My brother would not be able to walk through this ship. He's a very big boy.
Oh man, really isn't much left here, is there?
No, not really. Most of the furniture was wood, so it's almost all deteriorated.
There's a lot of debris on the ground, and a few broken canisters.
Oh, the Marconi room. So, I've been trying to mention this in Adventure Out of Time, but at some point during the voyage, the Marconi broke down.
What is the Marconi?
The wireless.
Oh, right.
See, it broke down, and standard procedure at the time, what wireless operators were told to do was just wait until you reach port to have the thing fixed. But Jack Phillips and Harold Bride didn't actually do that. They went out of their way and spent a full day fixing the thing because they had such a backlog of messages coming in and out that they were just not putting up with it. And it's a good thing they did. Like, legitimately, it's a good thing they did. If they had followed protocol and waited till they reached port, they would have had nothing but the backup set to work with, and their distress calls wouldn't have gone nearly as far.
And we probably would have never have learned what happened.
See, in that time, a Marconi wireless's range was more or less dependent on how much power it had. If they were stuck with the backup set, they would have not even reached the Carpathia near enough time, let alone most of the other ships that heard them. So, yeah, straight up disobeying orders saved the lives of 700 plus passengers.
Disobeying orders saved lives. Who would have thunk it?
Of course, it also had the double edge of,
All right.
yeah, more power going into it. It means that certain signals will be louder. And with a headset on, that is like pain. And that was the case. A ship was trying to inform them they'd been stopped in an ice field, and because they were close enough, like, the operators were dealing with Cape Race, which was far enough away, they had to boost the power to be able to hear them, and it was still kind of faint. The much closer ship basically came in like someone screaming in a megaphone directly into your ear.
I'm surprised these paper messages survived. They'll need to be soaked in the desal bath, and then in the fungicide tub. Ready for freeze drying.
More so, like, these guys were dedicated.
Mm-hmm.
Like, They stayed and broadcast distress
Transferred
signals
to
up
Titanic.
until the
Find
last
ship, find
possible
weather.
moment they
Arrive
could.
Wednesday with special delivery.
Water was
Love,
actually
William.
coming
You
into
mentioned
the
package
wireless
again.
room when
Maybe
they had
he
to
really
leave.
did have something stowed in the cargo hold.
Nothing was listed on the manifest.
A lot of things weren't.
You could have been referring to anything, though. Might have been something special in a suitcase or in the purser's safe.
We can still search the cargo hold as a start.
Yeah, we'll check it out next dive. Right on time.
Hello, team.
Hey, Jillian.
We recovered the message from the Marconi room, but it doesn't really give us any new information.
That's still
A passenger
great
had
news.
attempted to
Darren,
steal the
I
life
hope you
vest
find
off
it.
of
What
one
does
of the
it say?
wireless
We're sending you
operators
through a
because he was
photo of the
so
message now.
focused on getting
Thank you.
distress calls out, he didn't
Oh,
even notice.
It adds another layer to the story, doesn't it?
Damn.
The other
He
one
must have thought
punched the
himself
guy
lucky to
out
have
and
been
finally had
transferred to
to
Titanic.
pull his partner
Well, strong
away
imagine
from the
many people
wireless
were
set
upgraded
because,
to Titanic.
again, the room
Such
was starting
tragedy.
to flood.
William refers to a delivery in this message, so we're assuming he may have kept something in the cargo hold. We're planning to head down there next dive to check it out. Depending on what it was, there's a chance it's
Only one of them made
Did
it
you
out.
find anything we missed in the
Damn.
cargo manifest?
The more I
No,
hear
but
about
I've been
the
doing a bit of
crew of the
extra sleuthing.
Titanic, the more I
I
realize,
found
like,
out that there was a
they were
registered
fucking
parcel
heroes.
traveling on the Titanic with a Mr. W.
They
J.
were.
Henderson's name
Like,
on
in the
it.
face
Is it
of the
possible that
disaster,
the
they
ship
did
was
everything
traveling
they
as
could,
mail
and
not cargo?
it's miraculous that they
that's a
saved as many
possibility.
people as they
They could
did.
have also been two separate packages. The only way to know would be to check both rooms.
The mailroom used to be off limits, but we can access it through a new hole in the cargo hold
Like,
wall.
I hear people
Our
saying,
ROV
oh,
will
if the
need another
Titanic had
transmitter
more
upgrade to
lifeboats, they
delve
would have
that
been
deep,
able to
though,
save more
and a
people.
longer-lasting battery.
No,
That's not an issue.
not exactly.
Do you have any idea of the size of the parcel? What's inside it?
No.
Not
Could
exactly.
have been anything, really. The registered weight suggests something
See,
small. And Mary
for the
liked
amount of
elegant
lifeboats they
things.
had, it
Maybe
was well
something
within the range of the
French.
law
She
because you have to
loves her
understand
France.
what the
Could it
mentality
have been a
behind the
religious
lifeboats
thing?
was
I read
at
the
the
Hendersons
time.
were very involved in their local church.
Yes, definitely.
Lifeboats
In fact,
at
I'm
that
surprised
time were
William's
just
Bible
seen
wasn't in a
as an
suitcase you
emergency
recovered.
vehicle
He was
to
known
ferry
carry it
passengers
everywhere.
from a sinking
Maybe he
ship
had it
to
with
a
him
more
during the
stable
sinking.
one
Perhaps. There are
because
mixed
it
reports about
wasn't
final
really
moments,
imagined that a
unfortunately.
ship
I'm
would
not
be
sure we'll ever
stuck
find
sinking
out
for
what
so
really
long
happened.
on its own without
Well,
help.
we'll try our best to find out. Hopefully
Right.
we can learn more about him from the next dive.
I do hope so. I want to
Then
tell my
Titanic
great-grandfather's
happened.
story accurately in this
Oh,
biography.
Nexus is
We'll
here.
speak again tomorrow, after the dive.
Hey, Nexus!
Yes, thank you.
I can't see any of your
Right,
messages,
you better get those
Nexus. I'm
upgrades and
sorry.
Predator sorted then.
I'll get on it now.
So I'll be the one reading for you. So, like I was saying, for the amount of lifeboats they had, they barely managed to fill those up with as many people as they did before the ship finally gave way. If they had more lifeboats trying to cram more people in, they would not have had the time to fill them all.
I mean, that sucks.
And the thing is, for the amount of time they had, the ship gave them more time than they'd anticipated.
I mean, people always joke that
Good to go.
the Titanic was made to be unsinkable and then it sank. But I mean, think of how long it took for it to actually sink.
Its
Radio check,
own
CCGS,
designer gave it
Signal is
2
great,
hours
Dr.
at
Lynch.
most, and it lasted almost
I'm just
3.
marking the cargo hold on your map. You can access it from the number 2 hatch on the forward well deck.
I'll make my way to the hatch and deploy Predator.
Like, credit where it's due. You could joke about how the fact that it went down. You could claim it was made of subpar materials, when really it was just average stuff for the time. Like, that ship was stronger than people want to give credit for.
I remember it all vividly.
The only reason it broke like it did and suffered the damage it did was because it was subjected to stresses it was not designed for.
Yep.
Of course,
I remember hearing somewhere there was also
42
because of like
lifeboats had gone, and people were coming up on deck hoping
something about
that
the
the
screws
lifeboats
used
were
on the
going to go
Titanic.
forward. That's when the panic
The
started,
rivets
which was
being made of
here
subpar materials,
when
that's
we
a
were in
myth.
the lifeboat.
I suppose
Okay.
if you're a young person, you can see adults panicking and
Oh,
screaming.
yes. Yes,
Must have
indeed.
been absolutely horrific. And your father,
like I said, the materials it was made of at the time were quite typical for ships of the day, if not slightly better.
I hate to drag it up, but do you remember going away in one of the dinghies and looking back at the ships?
I do indeed, yes. Very clearly, and to this day I hate looking at pictures of ships.
Like,
Here she is.
bottom line, that ship was a lot tougher than people seem to want to give credit for, and that makes me sad.
Well, I mean, yeah, like, sometimes people just don't pay attention to the actual facts. And it's like, oh, it was the unsinkable ship and it sank? Well, womp womp.
They didn't even call it unsinkable until after the thing went down in a sort of bitter, ironic headline flip.
Down the void again. There will be a lot of debris down there.
Heading down now.
Even sadder still is like the number of souls that went down. People only really count the humans that died, but there were a number of pets on board that went down.
Ah, it sucks.
Like, there were plenty of dogs, some cats, some birds, etc. on board. There was legitimately a job for one of the stewards to just walk the dogs on the decks, like, daily.
You were right about the debris.
The cargo crates and barrels in here have almost all disintegrated.
I didn't realize it was carrying so much cargo. Surely this wasn't all just for passengers.
Some of the doggos survived.
No, most of this was produce and commercial goods being shipped to the United States, along with the passenger cargo.
That's unfortunate.
I'll have a look around here before moving on
Like,
to the mailroom.
supposedly at
See if I
least
can
one
find
was
anything
taken
related to
onto a
Henderson.
lifeboat.
I can't see anything useful here. If he did have a package, it looks to be long gone.
Let's check out the mail room then.
Where's the access point again?
It's in the side of the wall towards the back of the room. You'll see the metal has deteriorated there.
Like, the
Some
whole
areas are
thing
decaying
was like
faster than others.
Yeah,
the
it is.
perfect storm
We
of
have a
bad
request from a
circumstances
conservation group
to make
photograph the
to
opening
give
so
it
the
that
decay can be monitored.
just
No problem.
tangible feeling of it. God, that was awful.
Yep.
But at the same time, you feel like it could and couldn't be prevented.
I believe, like, this is not an old term. This is something I think was recently coined
Done.
in
I'm
Jordan
through to the
Peele's. Nope.
Deck
But
plans show there is a parcel room to the right of the mail room, near the
one
stairs.
could consider this a bad miracle.
I can agree with that.
Much like the
This room is
Hindenburg,
pretty well
much like
preserved.
the
Even the mail sacks look to be in decent
Chernobyl
condition.
The deeper
reactor.
you get into the
Can't see
ship,
anything
the
here.
more protected it. Try the bags near the
It's
stairs.
a case
There
of
should be some
There
sacks
we
of
go.
registered mail
the
addressed
DM
to
up
New York
above
there.
decided
Can you
to
see
give you a
Henderson's name on any packages?
sudden
W.J.
constitution
Henderson.
check
I think
and
this
you
is it.
got a
The
nat
packaging
1.
isn't in great condition, but the contents look okay.
I can't believe we found it. Is there anything else there with his name on it?
I can't see anything else. I'll make my way up now.
Great. See you soon.
Like, the DM that runs everything up above. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna need you to make a spontaneous saving throw. No context, just roll. I got a nat 1. Well, too bad for you.
Yeah. That reminds me of Goblin Slayer. I don't know if you've ever read or seen it.
I've heard of it, but that's about it.
So it's a pretty dark story because it takes the idea of oh hey, goblins are just weak level creatures, like they're not a big deal, and then like because people underestimate them, so many rookie adventurers end up murdered or raped by goblins.
Ugh.
And, like, people don't take goblins seriously as a threat, so a lot of times there's going to be entire villages that are just wiped off the face of the earth because they couldn't pay the guild to get rid of the goblins. And that's where Goblin Slayer comes from. He came from one of those villages. But basically, one way I heard the game explained, or the show, the story explained, is it's basically like
I'll just get this cleaned up before our call.
Like two gods basically playing like a D&D game, right?
I'm surprised the packaging survived at all.
This case will need a bit of care.
Okay.
A soak, scrub,
and
that,
like
and then drying.
they're playing their game. They got like a board. Pieces are brought in, knocked off the board, so on and so forth. But the one piece that these gods don't seem to have any control over is the Goblin Slayer. Like, no matter what, that piece just keeps moving on its own. And it's a very interesting idea, because it's basically like,
I defy your destiny and substitute my own.
pretty much, I defy fate and make my own rules. That's also why this guy is so fucking lucky, because, like, he's gone up against... He hasn't just fought goblins, he's fought other stuff before, but he prefers to just hunt goblins to extinction. But he's fought trolls, he's fought... I think he fought a fucking dragon once.
Attention when recovered. Just a quick scrub to remove the dirt. It's beautiful.
Gillian will be so excited to see this perfume bottle. Her guess of it being French is correct.
Hi, Gillian.
Hello. What do you have for me today?
We made our way into the cargo hold and mail room and found William's gift. It was a small parcel in the registered mail sacks.
That's amazing. I honestly thought that it was a long shot to recover the parcel. What's inside?
A leather case containing a small glass perfume bottle. Looks like gold detailing, and you were right with your suspicions. It's French.
You're talking about all this stuff, and I'm just remembering.
I'll send through a photo.
So, I know you don't really MLP, so I'm just gonna give you this little piece of trivia and move on. Cerberus exists in their world.
We aren't sure either.
I know, because you've talked about
might give us some indication of William's
giving...
prior
Like they
movements,
act
but
like
we're
they
at a
have
dead end.
Tartarus in their world.
Continue your search
Oh.
of the bow. There's still a large portion of the ship unexplored.
Yeah,
They
we need
treat
to
it like
take
a
advantage
prison
of this good
dimension.
weather.
What area should we explore next, then?
I suggest the D-deck reception area and Turkish baths.
We haven't really ventured into the
Like
debris
villas
field
that
yet
got
either.
banished there are just
It
kept in
covers such a
cages
large
under the
area, though, 3 by
watchful
5
eye of the
miles,
Cerberus.
and some areas are denser in artifacts than others. It would take us years to search the entire area.
What about that mosaic imaging of the wreck completed recently? Could we identify smaller areas to search from those images?
Like on the surface, it just
Divers
looks like a
focused on
colorful
mapping out the
kids
wreck
show,
itself
but
more than the
the more you
debris
dig
field.
into their
But
world,
I
the
heard
more
some other
horrifying
diving
the
teams
place
have
gets.
started on the surrounding areas as
Yep.
well.
I could contact those dive teams to find out what they have mapped. They may have finished some of the denser debris areas.
It's worth a shot. Let us know what you learn.
In the meantime, we'll keep looking for clues
Benefits
and
of
let you know
having
if
the
we find
world be
anything of
made by
interest.
people who played with the MLP
I'll
toys
connect with you
back in the
Why the
80s.
D-deck reception area and Turkish baths?
They're both areas Henderson would have visited, and we have jobs from other contractors in those areas, so it's a good opportunity. 2 birds, 1 stone, you know?
Fair enough. Will we need any upgrades for this next dive?
Yeah, we need to attach some specialty
Nexus.
equipment to Predator
What's
for
up?
these contracts. The D-deck reception is a basic photography opportunity, so that's fine. But the Turkish baths is a recovery job.
Fair can't see your messages,
Recovery.
Nexus, so
Another dive team was searching that
I'm
area,
gonna have to
and
read
their
them.
tethered ROV
Nexus says
lost
still here.
communication with the submersible.
Okay,
They've
because
asked us to recover their ROV
like
for
what
them,
you're
and they've
seeing
been
is
kind
what
enough
I
to
am
supply us
seeing.
with the necessary upgrades.
I cannot see
You think it'll
the.
be difficult to get out?
I
Not sure
cannot
yet.
see the
We'll find
chat.
out when we get down
I
there
cannot
and
see
try.
the window.
The ROV looks to be trapped under a piece of pipe, so we need to lift the pipe and then drag it out with a hook.
What equipment have they given us?
It's sitting over there on the table next to Predator. Should be easy enough to attach it all.
I'll get onto it now
Oh.
then. This hook and rope will be useful when I rescue
on a
the damned
quick
ROV.
tangent, the technology level in Equestria is just kind of weird and inconsistent.
I mean,
They've got freaking video arcades and movie theaters and the like, and the most advanced form of transportation they have are hot air balloons and trains.
This flotation buoy will help me rescue the downed ROV. There's an empty float bag, a tank of petroleum jelly, and an inflation tube. The flotation bag will all attached. She's ready for tomorrow.
Get some rest. We've got a big day tomorrow.
Nexus says just chilling.
all right. How long have we been
Radio
going
check.
for?
Crystal clear, Dr. Lynch.
Okay, making my way
About
to
an
the
hour
D-deck
6.
reception area now. I can
All right.
access it through the forward grand staircase, right?
Yeah, marking it on your map now. You'll need to park off to the side of the staircase this time, leaving the...
We're gonna have to leave it here for now because I'm starting to get a little motion sick.
Alrighty.
Okay, let me just quit that. Hi, Nexus. And then let me just... Where's the power button? There it is.
Nexus says got a week off.
You got a week off? That's awesome, man. Ladios, you still here? Ladios? Hello? Oh, right. I need to change my thing. Voice and video. Okay. Whew.
Yeah, for a second there, all I was hearing was you in the stream, and you couldn't hear anything I was saying.
Yeah, because I had to switch the mics and stuff. Whew. So
Yeah.
we will be continuing with Titanic VR, but
For the moment, it's just we can only do this in small bursts. I suppose if you're just gonna continue the stream from here, I can point you to a YouTube channel that might at the very least provide some interesting information.
I usually don't get motion sick, Nexus. I'm usually fine, but if using the VR system for too long starts to make me not feel great.
So, the YouTube channel I was referring to, it's called Part-Time Explorer.
Okay.
They do a lot of videos about ships from the Titanic to other ships from other ages, mostly Titanic stuff. Like there's a few real-time sinking videos too, which I figure I'll just point people to on the 14th itself.
All right. There it is. All right. I'm installing Ghostwire because tomorrow there's a free update that adds in a bunch of stuff. No, the VR
It's
Nexus.
like,
It
depends on your tolerance. That's all.
Yeah, because like I was in there for an hour, and I haven't used VR for a while. So
Barrett's basically just not used to it. The more
I got
we go
unused to it.
Like the more we go through the week and he plays more of the game, the more he'll readjust to the VR and he'll be fine.
Yeah, it's kind of like diving. But yeah.
VR itself is not really a bad thing. You just need to build up a tolerance for it.
Pretty much. What the fuck?
Yeah, the channel I was referring to was Part-Time Explorer.
Okay.
The only objects of real value are ancient things.
Cool, Nexus.
Like the one you just brought to me.
The biggest,
AI
grandest,
characters?
and finest
What?
ocean liner just crashed on the rocks
Okay,
of
the
a
video you
rural
clicked was
village
the
in
wreck of
Nova
the
Scotia,
SS Atlantic.
with nearly 1,000
Fuck.
people on.
But that is the right channel. Well, it's sort of relevant because this was White Star's last big accident before the Titanic.
White Star was the company that
owned the ship, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the real-time sinking, based on the book Honesty of Glass, the current most accurate book we have. So, you're all good.
Oh, it is actually 2 hours long. Oh, wow.
It does say real-time. What's character AI Nexus? By the way, for the best results, you want to watch this around like 9 to 10 p.m. starting from the beginning of the video, because the times they give are ship's time, so you gotta adjust for that when bring it to like our perspective.
Right.
Yes. What do you see? Thank you. Hard starboard.
Yeah, see how dark the whole thing is? That, like, even with how brightly lit the ship is, that is, like, that is more or less what it would look like to an extent. Between the cold water mirage, the sea being glassy calm, and the moonless night, it was like the perfect storm of circumstances to cause this.
A bad miracle.
"11:40 p.m. Titanic collides with the iceberg. The collision lasts less than 10 seconds but causes damage in the forepeak tank, cargo holds 1 through 3, and boiler rooms number 6 and 5. Titanic is designed to take the forward 4 compartments or any 2 others in terms of damage and stay afloat. But the iceberg here, the collision opened up the front 5 or 6. It's a site where you can talk to man-made AI characters. Okay.
Close the watertight doors and stop the engines. Send for the carpenter. Mr. Vauxhall, head below next forward and inspect the
Alright. Commodore Ghost. I'm going somewhere with
11:41
this.
p.m. Assessing the situation, Captain Smith leans from the... and I missed the rest of that, but I know what's going on.
So, in Commodore Ghost, the concept for the different forms is that they're all based off people who left their mark on history. Like Thomas Edison, Robin Hood, Ben the Warrior Monk, Billy the Kid, Oda Nobunaga. I can imagine that Captain Smith would be one of them.
11:42 p.m. Titanic's engines come to a complete stop. They will be temporarily turned back on, pushed forward, but ultimately stopped once more. To be fair, though, by the description of Kamen Rider Ghost and the scenario you put up, there'd be like an entire Titanic collection going on.
Well, I mean, like...
if you want to join the voice call, you're more than welcome to.
Yeah. Right now, we're just watching this video on the Titanic. We were doing a VR game, but had to stop because... Whew!
For the moment, Captain Smith has ordered the engines half ahead, and the Titanic will proceed forward tentatively for a little bit. Titanic's initial starboard list has already become apparent.
Oh.
Hello.
Hello.
I'm pretty much just been sitting in my room just chilling for the most part.
We've We are exploring the wreck of the Titanic, and now we are watching a real-time video of the event.
Okay.
It's barely been about 5-ish minutes since the collision.
For
and
me,
you
it's
could
about
already
7.
see how, like, yes, 7 to 10-ish minutes, and you can already see how the sinking is starting to affect it.
Yep.
Is it me or is it leaning a little bit?
Yeah, the ship started started to lift the starboard noticeably fairly early on. Yeah, if it looks like it's leaning to you, it was.
Oh shit.
Like, as it sunk, the Titanic had a notable list. Remember what I mentioned before about that coal fire and moving the coal kind of playing a pivotal role in this? The movement of that coal put enough weight on the other side of the ship to keep it from listing completely and flipping over.
Damn.
For the moment, we're still in the very earliest stages. It's 11:46 p.m. Titanic's engines are rung off for the last time. The ship is completely stopped.
And no, I can imagine, like, because the gimmick for Commoner Ghost were, like, icons that contain the soul of people who left their mark on history. I can imagine one of them being Captain Smith, and, like, I don't know, maybe, like, one of his abilities is to, like, he can kind of, like, summon the crew to fight with him or something.
If this were the case, there'd be an entire Titanic collection to have to scour for, because there's a lot of notable people who left their marks on history this night.
That's true.
Just imagine the only icon you had to collect were the ones from the Titanic. It's really easy, honestly.
Hi, Taro.
Honestly, like,
I've been
frankly,
here
I
for a
could
few
see,
minutes
like,
now. Hell,
I could see an ocean themed rider just using these.
let's see. Commoner Ghost, Commoner Spectre, Commoner Necron. Uh, I wanna
Hello.
say Polter or Geist.
For those of us just joining here, if you've noticed, the Titanic is leaning to one side while it's doing all this. Yeah, that's accurate. As the water's rushing in, the ship is kind of leaning into the rushing water. Stopped at her steam mains already opening at near maximum pressure before the collision. Pressure in the system
Okay, for whatever reason, my mic just decided to not work anymore. Or my headphones.
Oh no.
Yeah, see again how the ship is listing? Ships tend to do that. When there's damage enough for water to start rushing in, they will lean towards the spot where the water rushes in.
Yeah.
11:50. Thomas Andrews is headed down below to inspect the damage via the working stairs leading down to the E deck. He will give the ship an hour, maybe 2 at most. And ultimately have underestimated the time they had. Not by overly much, but they had more time than he initially thought.
Decided to take a break and sit outside. It's nice today.
11:51. Because of First Officer Murdoch's hard port maneuver, turning the ship's bow to starboard in the minutes after the collision, the Titanic drifts to a final stopping point with her bow pointed roughly north-northwest true.
Yeah, it's very obvious that it's listing.
It wouldn't be as obvious if you were actually aboard at the time.
I can imagine.
But, like, looking at it from an outsider's perspective, it's quite obvious.
Yep.
Now, there will be a point where the list kind of works itself back out during the sinking, but for now, we got this to deal with. 11:52 p.m. The lights fail in the stokeholds.
Wait, what does that mean?
People working down below trying to keep the power on are doing so in the dark.
Oh, shit. You know, after how fast I was moving in Adventure Out of Time, this is, like, agonizing.
I just see it as a leisurely stroll.
Remind me to take you to the Titanic World VR chat now. You think this is bad? Wait till you see that.
Oh, no.
11:53. The crew described the venting steam as deafening. Like I said, it was extremely loud because of how much steam pressure they had to vent in order to keep the ship from exploding.
Yeesh.
This
Thankfully,
night,
you don't get any of
like
that though.
Bear described it very accurately when he called it a bad miracle.
Mm-hmm. I picked that up from Jordan Peele's Nope. But,
because, like, this whole event is just, like, getting constant failures on your saving throws every time you're asked to give one.
it's like the shoe standing upright in Nope. Like, it's just the circumstances, like, the circumstances that led to such an event happening are...
11:54 p.m. Passengers have emerged onto the forward well deck and are now kicking chunks of ice around in, like, makeshift soccer games.
Do they even know what's happening?
No, they don't. Not yet.
Oh, fuck.
In order to manage the panic, the information was more or less withheld. A good chunk of the crew doesn't even know what's going on just yet. At this point, Thomas Andrews is still inspecting the damage.
Ooh.
There's a myth that some of these chunks of iceberg were used as ice in drinks ordered that night, but that's just a myth. 11:55. James Johnson, following Thomas Andrews from the engine room to the mailroom, notices flooding seen in the first class baggage room on G deck. Assistant second steward, and I couldn't finish the rest of that.
You're good.
Okay. Assistant Steward West. Thank you. Yeah, Wheat sees water coming onto G deck just after bumping into Johnston.
I got you, buddy.
That's fine. Because, like, it's more or less just little notes to let you know this is going on at this stage. Because, like, without them, you're just seeing the ship slowly sink in real time. So they're trying to give you, like, bits and pieces of the ship is very active in spite of how passive it looks right now.
2 hours, almost 3 hours worth of footage.
Like I said, real time. This is how long it reportedly took that night.
Yeah. I didn't realize it took that long. Shit.
It's a big ship.
Like the sinking
882.5 feet long, 92 feet wide, roughly.
I mean, you won't call something the Titanic for nothing, gonna be real.
I mean, even, like, the name was a coincidence.
True.
Like, its sister ship was named the Olympic. It's just that for White Star Line, it's tradition to end their ship names with the "ick" suffix. Just like Cunard does the "ia" suffix, like Carpathia, Lusitania, Mauritania, Aquitania, etc.
Unobtainium.
Amphibia?
More or less, at this point, the orders are being given to start prepping the boats. Now, I had mentioned before, the power on the ship is done in, like, blocks, so you could lose lights in certain areas but not lose them throughout the entire ship.
Yeah.
People who survived reported seeing the lights on up to the point the ship broke in two and seeing emergency lights after the fact.
Just random fun fact on my part. My mom goes on a rant about the end of the romance Titanic movie, going, "You both could have figured. There's no reason you couldn't move your fat ass over, put the skinny boy on the board."
Just more evidence that Rose was the true villain all along.
I even saw like a post on Facebook once of people just
Mythbusters actually tackled that.
and like laid on it in different directions to show how you could have fit two people on that.
Mythbusters actually tackled that and proved it was plausible. If memory serves.
Do any of you watch Matt Pat's Film Theory?
A little bit, yeah.
I saw this video at one point claiming that what's his name, Jack? I never watched it myself.
Yeah, Jack Dawson. That was the male lead in the film.
Jack was secretly a time traveler who went back to ensure that the
Oh,
Titanic
I saw
sank.
that one. I saw that one. I just ended up scratching my head going, wait, what?
Someone made a ridiculous theory that Jack Dawson was, what was his name?
The guy from Gatsby?
The Great Gatsby, yes. Just because they were played by the same actor. But, like, the timelines don't match up.
Because of the collision, Titanic's clocks are not set back. Through the remainder of the disaster, the ship's time remains 2 hours and 2 minutes ahead of time in New York, 2 hours and 58 minutes behind time in England. This is why I said you have to adjust Eastern Standard Time for the ship time.
People come up with some mad theories sometimes.
Captain Smith orders that the boats be readied and the crew called out. He departs the bridge again after Boxhall informs him of the flooding in the mailroom. Boxhall is sent to wake up the off-duty officers Lightoller, Pittman, and Lowe. Lowe falls back to sleep.
Man really
Lowe
did
is
not
one of the
care.
few
He survived
surviving
it.
officers.
Okay, back to sleep.
Sixth Officer Moody begins preparing the aft boats on the port and starboard side.
Moody, you say? Mad-Eye Moody?
Sixth Officer Moody.
Mad-Eyed Moody.
Yeah, James Moody.
Yep. Okay, I'm just gonna
If only J.K. Rowling was around at that time. The amount of name calling that man would have received.
My mind just wanted to shout constant. Shit, I forget what he kept shouting in the book. Constant vigilance. Matt, I just kept shouting that randomly in the book.
Notice that the ship is already kind of taking a downward list as well as a starboard list.
Yep.
Like, the first 6 or so compartments are flooding, and it is taking a toll. As you can see, they're starting to prep the boats for launch. Now, I mentioned this to Fair earlier in regards to the lifeboats, and I'll bring this up to you guys now. They had a very different mentality for lifeboats way back in like the early 1900s. The idea was that if your ship was in distress, another ship should always be close enough to come by, so the lifeboats are less, lifeboats as we understand them, and more a means of ferrying surviving passengers from one ship to another. Hence, Titanic had more lifeboats than the law actually required at the time. The events of this disaster kind of proved why, that idea was short-sighted. However, it's also short-sighted to say that having more lifeboats would have saved more people, because they barely had enough time to fill the boats they did.
That's true.
Hell, technically, the last boat to leave Titanic wasn't even properly launched.
Wasn't it dropped?
It just went up on the water.
It flipped over. They couldn't flip it back over and secure it in time, so it just kind of floated off the ship. People clung to that boat, desperately trying to keep balance, and freezing for several hours. collapsible B was not a fun place to be.
But yeah, I remember in the Titanic VR game, like after you finish like the main story, you can actually like see a recreation of the sinking from the fact like where like letting the lifeboats go.
12:04 a.m. After finishing calling out to the off-duty officers, Boxhall goes to the port side to begin uncovering lifeboats.
Fair, I wasn't sure if that was me or not, but your mic glitched out.
It did?
Yeah, it does that.
Hear me?
Barely. Excuse the pun.
What do you mean, barely?
Our mics have been glitching off and on.
Yeah, I can kind of see your lips moving in the video, but I don't hear any audio sometimes.
That's weird. I don't know.
Third Officer Pittman arrives on the boat deck and notices the lifeboats on the port side are being uncovered and that steam is blowing from the boilers. He heads aft and does things. Captain Smith is seen headed for the mail room with Chief Purser McElroy and a mail clerk. They do attempt to salvage as much mail as they can, but it's kind of moot.
Yeah.
Other crew members are starting to notice the ship going down, and its news is starting to spread.
Yep.
Here comes the panic.
These guys were a bit more professional than that, but
Well,
I can
I
see
meant
how you'd think so.
I meant the passengers.
Like, the passengers were still kept fairly in the dark. They're not even being funneled out to the boats yet, meaning they're still more or less oblivious right now. All they know is that the ship has stopped and it's loud.
Knowing me, if I was on that boat, I would have eavesdropped on every staff member that was working, trying to figure out what was going on.
I'd like to say I'd have been walking out on deck and seeing what was happening, but it was like freezing that night.
True.
I'm gonna be honest here, though. If I was on that ship, I'd have been stuck in third class.
Pretty much all of us would have been.
Yeah.
I mean, more or less, because like.
We're all
Because,
working
like, third class was where most of the normies are, and even then, those tickets were expensive.
Not
even
only
for
that,
the
but I'm
time.
also thinking of like. I have Irish heritage, so I probably wouldn't even been allowed.
Oh no, you would have been allowed on board.
No, I meant like in any of the higher classes.
Oh, there were Irishmen in higher classes than that.
Oh.
I think my family technically came from Italy around this time because it was like a second generation Italian immigrant.
Just stick the willfully and persistently Irish in third class. It's fine. You don't have to see them.
Yeah, like, well, the Irish were indeed more focused more focused in third class. If memory serves, like, there were some in other classes. I mean, like, if I were on that ship, I'd have been like so freaking poor that I probably only got on the ship because I pulled a Jack Dawson and won a ticket in a game.
I would have been a stowaway.
If not that.
Me, probably not at all, because I have a fear of falling off edges and drowning, so boat's probably not the best idea for me.
So
That
They
is
tried to get
100%
me. They tried to get me
fair.
to work on a boat when I was in job corps,
So, like,
and I was like, no, I don't know how to
I
swim.
forget which
I ain't
side of my
risking
family it was, but evidently my great grandparents just barely missed the Titanic.
That's probably a good thing.
It is. The fact that we exist at all, my siblings and I, is probably because of this.
Because your grandparents were late.
That's probably where all our good luck points got used up too. Damn.
Race.
12:10 a.m. Yet more crew were getting notified, and Captain Smith returns to the bridge. That is effectively all you need to know.
And plus, note, we have plants planted now. Finally spring here, so my mom finally planted everything. It took her a couple weeks out. So plants. We plan on getting some more daffodils, irises, and tulips, or hyacinths and tulips. Peach or pink daffodils.
Rocket colors tended to vary depending on the company using them. It was the interval at which they were fired that was supposed to convey different messages. And for distress, it's 1 minute intervals.
How many minutes in between then?
They varied from 5 to 7 minutes. Which left nearby ships who could actually see them a bit confused.
Yeah.
Like, they saw
Okay,
the distress
one.
rockets going up, but because the interval was wrong, they're like, oh, they must be having a party or communicating to some other company ship or something. Nah, it's not our business.
Oh my god.
Yep.
And the ship that was close enough to see them also had their wireless operator go to bed for the night with no replacement shift.
Oof.
That, like, I get it. It's morbidly funny, but, like, if he'd stayed on for, like, 5 more minutes, he would have started hearing those distress calls.
I don't know whether to call that incompetence or just...
Remember when I mentioned the whole Cape Race thing earlier, Bear?
Yeah.
This was the guy who got yelled at for it.
Oh.
He tried giving an ice warning because their ship had been stopped for the night, but because he was too close, the guy who was dealing with Cape Race snapped at him and told him to shut up. Dude kind of decided, you know what? Screw it, I'm done for the night, and went to bed. It's a case of just not having the shifts necessary to keep people as well rested as they should be. That genuinely was one of the new rules put in place after this disaster. because they multiple inquiries were launched and tried to figure out every angle of this disaster as many points of view as possible to figure out, okay, what went wrong here, what went wrong there, what could have been done different here to make this result better and minimize that over there. A lot of new laws were passed. And even though my Titanic history is still a bit rusty, you can kind of tell how passionate I am about this ship that I can recall this much off the top of my head.
Mm-hmm. Alright, I'm going to skip ahead a little bit.
By all means.
Ow.
I'm going to just skip to the next segment.
I'm sorry, I find it kind of funny that the three of us in this DC are anime characters, and we just got Bear.
I'm sorry?
The profile picture.
Yeah, then we just got you, Bear.
Okay.
I never use a real picture of myself. Like, very rarely is my profile an actual picture.
Oh yeah, no, fair enough. I mean, I only ever use an actual picture once. Even then,
I mean, Bear's profile picture on Facebook is a Bearmon, so...
It used to be of my late Chihuahua, but that account got hacked.
Yeah,
Yeah, notice how the list is a bit worse now?
I'm sure people are starting to notice now.
By now, yes.
Like, just imagine someone just has, like, for whatever reason, a small, like, ball bearing.
At this point...
Puts it on a table, and it rolls to the left.
Like, at this point, people are becoming increasingly aware, and the band has started to play to try to keep people calm. Playing stuff from, like, ragtime to church songs, etc., just to keep people from panicking.
Right.
It's still debated what the last song they actually played was before her finally, abandoning ship. It's widely accepted to be some variation of Nearer My God to Thee.
Ah. See, I kept thinking Ode to Joy.
Like, the debate, for the most part, was either some version of Nearer My God to Thee or Autumn. Because passengers reported both near the ship's final moments. Honestly, if I could go back in time without necessarily interacting with anything, I would love to see this ship in its prime. Like, just prior to its initial launch from Southampton.
Yeah.
Oh, it'd probably be a thing of beauty.
It would. Like, we do have some black and white photos of the ship around the time, but not nearly enough.
I was saying, my cousin was a bunch of Italian ship makers and carpenters, so I probably would appreciate the little details and stuff like that for the like into the woodwork and stuff. I tend to notice those stuff. Oh,
Yeah, everybody's going on like I'm part Irish or part Italian. My family are mutts.
Well, I mean, like, I say my family's part Irish, but we are still also mutts, because, like, we have more than just Irish in there.
Off the top of my head, my family's got, like, off the top of my head, my family's got Irish, Scottish, German, Dutch.
I got Italian, Welsh, Scottish, Irish, German, Cherokee, Arapaho. So yeah, I'm a mutt. You were in different Native American tribes.
Most Americans these days are mutts.
We are a
melting pot. I'm on my mom's side and
1222. Thomas Andrews is seen rushing up the first class grand staircase with a look of terror on his face.
I remember finding out I'm Scottish because Mom had got me a kilt like shirt, and I said it looks like a kilt. She's like, "Well, you're Scottish." And walked away, and I'm like, "I thought I was Irish. That's on your dad's side."
Yeah. Point being, people are starting to realize the gravity of the situation right now on board.
Yep.
At the very least, the crew are.
Yeah.
For the most part, passengers were just told this was effectively a surprise lifeboat drill to get people into the lifeboats. You know, put on your lifebelts, follow us, get in the boat. This is just a drill, nothing to panic over.
Don't ask questions.
Hey, Carter, what's your anime profile from?
The Digimon 02 movie that's coming out soon.
Okay, I thought it was that, but just want to make sure the character does look cool, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I am cautiously optimistic for the 02 movie because I got to see that teaser that was the first 5 minutes of the movie, and I loved seeing the way the 02 cast bounced off each other. They felt like real good friends.
My favorite part of the movie is seeing the character in my profile pictures is his Digivice glowing, even though it's similar to what happened to Ty and Matt's at the end of the other movie. Is this the case that the boys are coming back, or no? If they're not,
are
I'll
the
be
boys
sad.
back in town?
Don't you?
I'm not sure. Oh, and since you can see my profile pic, I'm just gonna outright say it. I'm a little miffed that of all the people you see in Neverland and Last Evolution Kizuna, the only one you see in there that you don't see wake up is Mako. Even the nameless background people you see in there that got trapped in the Neverland server, when they wake up, you see them wake up. Be it main character Digidestined, the nameless nobodies in the background, but Mako is the only one you don't see wake up. It's accepted that she did, but I think the only reason you don't see that is because Mekumon is truly dead. Like, they hint that Mekumon could somehow come back with the Digivice beep at the end of the credit sequence for the last Digimon Tri movie, and they never follow up on it.
Yep. On another note, I do have a Digimon plushie covered. I got Jellymon from Joe King.
An excellent choice, darling. I don't know much about Jellymon, I just know that she occasionally says darling.
Yep. I saw the gif of her, like, floating in her head and pops about, and then the one of her sitting in a chair, and I'm like, oh my god. Crimson chair standing up.
Now, here's something to note as far as the lifeboats going on. Okay, first off, the first distress message is released at this time, 12:27 a.m. Now, back to what I was saying about the lifeboats. Depending on what side of the ship you're on, the rule was slightly different. On one side, it was women and children first. If there was neither her within the immediate vicinity, then men would be allowed to board and launch. On the other side, it was women and children only. If you had a dick, you were screwed.
Or if you had a dick and were above a certain age.
That's the strangest way of saying women and children first.
Yeah, on what? It was because of a misunderstanding of the captain's orders. On the one side, it's women and children first. On the other, it was women and children only.
Well then.
Latios.
Effectively a miscommunication.
Latios.
Yes?
Do you know about Digimon Next Order? Have you seen the game?
I've played it.
I have it as well.
I'm in the post
Well,
game.
never mind me. I was gonna.
Like, I've played Digimon Next Order. I'm in the post game. I have to deal with reliving both of the Diablomon movies at the same time.
I was gonna tell you about Meikumon's appearance in the game, but never mind.
He already knows. Trust me, he already knows. If there's a Meikumon involved, he already knows.
I have a sixth sense for these cats, man.
Yeah, what?
A sixth sense for these cats.
Oh my god.
Now, back to what I was initially saying.
Waiting for everybody.
Back to what I was saying about the lifeboats here. So, Bear said, yeah, if you're a boy over a specific age, you're turned away. You're more right than you realize, Bear.
Well, I remember because in the...
A 13-year-old boy almost got turned away for being a boy instead and told, let the women and children take these spots. A woman took her shawl off, like the hat thing, put it on his head and said, there, now he's a girl, let him in.
I mean, fair. I'm pretty sure that's what my parents would have done.
when I was watching the recreation in the VR game, there was a kid who was above a certain age, and he wasn't allowed on the lifeboat. He was because of his age, he was considered to be a man, so he wasn't allowed on the lifeboat.
That's the story I'm talking about.
Really? Because
yeah. Complete stranger too. A complete stranger. A woman just walks up, sees what's going on, puts her hat on his head, and says, "There, now he's a girl. Let him on."
I didn't see that happen because, like, it was a family of 4. The wife and baby were allowed on the lifeboat, but the son wasn't allowed, and of course the husband wasn't allowed. And it just follows the woman and her child, and not the husband and the son.
I forget if he was put on a different boat on the same side or not, but like, I do recall this story was a thing that happened. Like, Titanic is a weird example of seeing some of the best and worst in humanity come out in a dire situation.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
You've got, like, absolute heroes like the crew, and then you've got people that are just... not decent people.
People all for
So the
themselves.
crew.
Well, not just the crew, because, like, in the VR recreation, there is, when you're on the boat, I think there's a crew member on the boat, like, someone to, like, guide the boat or whatever, but he finds a man on the boat and nearly throws him off.
That's accurate.
Like, the man snuck on while no one was looking, which, I mean, I'll admit, that must have been extremely hard to do, but he managed to sneak on, and...
There was a, like, when panic starts setting in, officers had to lock arms to block unwanted passengers from getting onto the lifeboats so women and children could actually get on.
Yeah, the guy, I guess crew member, he was ready to throw the guy overboard and called him a coward for not staying on the ship. And all the women on board are like, well, he's here now. No use, making a big deal about it.
That actually happened.
Wow.
Holy shit.
Just as there was another boat that was, Captain Smith ordered the lifeboats to come back to try picking up more people, the ones that launched, and only one returned. But in order to get the people who are actually still trying to board, they had to go around the back of the ship. At some point, they realized they'd never make it in time.
So only one lifeboat came back.
Only one lifeboat came back, and it was effectively a moot point.
Now, is that because no one else wanted to come back, or because it was the only one that could come back?
No one else came back.
Well, I know, but I mean, like, was it
no
a
one
case...
else wanted to. Captain Smith was ordering all of the lifeboats to come back, and only one turned around.
Okay, because that's what I was asking. Was it a situation
Most of them were
like...
afraid of getting swamped.
Yeah.
And I admit, it is a genuine fear. Enough people in the water trying to climb aboard could capsize the boat, but the thing is, most of the boats weren't even full to capacity. Heck, most of those boats didn't even discover the lamps and the hardtack that were on board. I think it was a Chinese man, only one aboard the ship, managed to find his way into a lifeboat. Couldn't speak a lick of English, and still wound up being one of the best sailors as far as the lifeboats were concerned that the officer had ever seen. And he openly said, if I could go back and rescue him again, I would do so in a heartbeat.
So this Chinese guy, like, helped with the lifeboat?
With the lifeboat. Like, once he was aboard the lifeboat, he helped row in order to, like, navigate the ship. He was an experienced sailor. He just couldn't speak English.
Interesting. Once again, the best of humanity.
Fair. I know it's like 10 days late, but you gotta see what I just posted. in a React video.
1237. Titanic has transferred Foxhall's corrected and forever infamous position. Come at once. We have struck a berg. It's a CQD. It's basically he's telling them, yeah, we're in a lot of trouble. Here's our corrected position. We were wrong the first time.
Send help.
What? I don't want to know, Taro.
Tammy,
The Carpathia was the closest one. The Carpathia was the closest ship, and even when pushing the ship to speeds it was never meant to sustain, they would still take a couple of hours to get there.
Fuck you, Taro.
Like I said, I know it's 10 days late, but you gotta see what I posted.
I did. Fuck you.
I'm avoiding that like the plague.
It's just it's an April Fool's prank of like a Bendy and the Ink Machine dating sim.
Oh my god, it's a prank. That's a legitimate game. I was gonna be concerned for people.
No, because Taro said it was 10 days late. And today is the 11th, so...
Oh, okay.
Like I said, count back 10 days.
Fun fact. By this time, back in 1912, the Titanic would have only just barely been out to open sea.
My one gripe about the video, though, is why did it have to make the art style so good? Why is it so good? I actually want this now.
Okay, if you want to skip ahead a little more, Bear, you can do that.
Okay.
I was gonna say, I found a Sonic game that I thought was a Fool's joke. It's basically Clue, but Sonic. It's called Sonic is Dead. Basically, the murder of Sonic the Hedgehog.
Sega is finally happy to announce he's dead.
Yeah. Lifeboat number 7 is lowered and is the first lifeboat to leave the Titanic.
I'm just laughing how many people are like, this is an April Fool's joke, but I want to play it. It wasn't an April Fool's joke. It's a legit game. I downloaded it already.
Oh, that's my reaction whenever the Geek Tycoon X Geeks Tycoons.
See how some of the lights are actually flickering?
Mm-hmm.
I do believe that's the Morse lamp being activated.
That's gonna be my reaction when the Tycoon and Shinobi movie ever comes out, because I know it will. I know it will.
It's not going to.
That is the Morse lamp.
Taro, I found the artist who made that picture.
Wait, Toei didn't make it?
No, that's what I've been trying to tell you all along.
Okay, so quick thing.
Oh my god.
Okay, quick thing. I had mentioned the Morse lamp a couple of times. They had attempted to use this to contact the ship that had seemed to not have their wireless operating. This was one of many failed attempts to contact the stopped ship.
Yep.
Because they just couldn't really see the Morse lamp too well.
A lot of circumstances, politics and numbers. Again, they didn't know they were going to hit an iceberg, so, yeah.
This night was just a perfect storm of bad miracles and unsavory circumstances.
Yep. It was a bad miracle.
We are witnessing the second lifeboat get lowered and prepare to leave. The first one was number 7.
There's a lamp again.
Like I said, they tried for a while to use his Morse lamp to contact a nearby ship, but never really received a response. At least I don't think they did.
What? Well, I got so annoyed with April Fool's. They kept trying to joke with me, and I'm like, I take everything literally, so I'm just sitting there going, are they joking or are they not? And when people go, April Fool's, they'll be like, fuck you.
Yeah.
It's why I try to avoid YouTube in the initial days of April.
I just like the image of Sam just watching a video, and then it just goes April Fool's, and she's just like silently, like she's by herself in her room, just no one else there, and she just silently says, "Fuck you."
I got that way with one of the Animal Crossing posts. They're going, Animal Crossing cancels this holiday, and I click it and I get rickrolled, and I'm sitting there going, fuck you.
If I were leader, we'd never get rickrolled. Silence, Starscream. None can stop the rickroll.
Not even Rick Astley, because insurance, whatever.
An insurance commercial actually used his rickroll.
Not only did they use it, they brought him in to make a modern day version.
And that was priceless.
It's still up, though. Let's be real.
Huh?
I don't know how many links I clicked that I thought was stuff, and it turned out to be rickrolled. I was so mad.
Okay, so here's another bit of trivia. In order to keep the ship as balanced out as possible, not only were they relying on the coal that was moved to put out the coal fire in the early stages of the voyage, but they were also trying to keep more people on one specific side of the ship.
Okay.
Because the way the listing worked, as it was leaning into the side where the hull damage was, if they'd had too much weight on the side of the ship that was actually damaged, they risked capsizing the Titanic.
And that would have made things worse.
Imagine something the size of the Titanic flipping upside down.
Nope.
Like straight up Poseidon adventure here.
Like, it would have been a very different wreck that we would be looking at.
Yes. Oh, I think I finally figured out how to put the loops on my Uso wig. I use like a lot of bobby pins to keep them in place. No, not to try doing the freaking Layla hair bun thing on the side of my head. They're supposed to be in the back of her head. Side bun.
So, just for context, people, this is basically an hour into the sinking.
Yep.
Now, because the little note here mentions it, the Frankfurt had a difficult time determining what the situation actually was, because they were playing a game of telephone alongside a game of real-time translation.
We didn't have very good real-time translation back then.
Yeah, you had to have someone who was capable of understanding English and, I think, either German or French going on.
Frankfurt, probably German.
Yeah.
At some point, the other ships just got tired of trying to inform the Frankfurt of what was going on, because it was just not getting it, because translation was just not working, and they basically told it, just go away, we'll deal with this without you.
Fuck.
At some point, the wireless traffic got so bad, the Olympics shouted at everybody to shut the fuck up. Not in those exact words, but that was the spirit of the message.
I'm gonna speed it up a little bit.
Because, like, there's a video out there called Titanic in Her Own Words, where you can just hear how busy the wireless got at a very late stage of the sinking, as so many ships are trying to coordinate and figure out what's going on and try to help. It legit gets hard to hear.
Wow.
Because, like, it's Morse code. So imagine multiple ships spamming Morse code back and forth at the same time. It stops from sounding like Morse code. It starts just sounding like noise.
Mine is something that means when you randomly tap in your pen. The deaf kid wondering why you're trying to invade Cuba. You just randomly click your pen.
That is why the Olympics told everybody to shut up and let the Titanic talk.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going at 2 times speed right now.
I was trying to get cover for the fake teeth, but apparently I'm gonna have to try again to get a day off to get the goddamn glasses fixed. The hell to get up my taste right now, it's annoying me. And somehow I put the day off because they didn't put April in. They had May's pages in when I went to fill out the books for class off.
Like, you want to know what the bitter irony of this accident is beyond the fact that it happened?
What?
This happened when they actually took measures to try to prevent it. They diverted their course to move a bit further south in order to avoid ice fields, only to find that a large one drifted further south than usual.
Wow.
Oh.
They tried to dodge danger only for nature to go, oh fucking no you don't.
It's like that. It's like that type of like thing in like time travel stories where like you try to prevent someone from dying, but like the timeline is like, no, this person has to die. Like.
So basically, Final Destination.
Or that one episode of Marvel's What If.
Yep.
Which one you talking about?
The one where Doctor Strange lost his heart and instead of his hands.
Oh.
12:55 a.m. Boat number 3 is lowered away. Titanic's Marconi operator has signaled that they can... Okay, that's moving faster, so I'm just not gonna bother.
Sorry, I have it at 2 times speed.
Nah, I'll just stick to the short ones.
Put it up to 5 times speed.
I don't even know if I can.
Because, like, I know, it's a long time for the video to go.
2 times speed is as far as it'll go.
Wow. I wonder who actually has time to sit down and watch this without speeding it up.
Tentatively raising paw.
Other than you.
Like, ever since this video first came up, I've watched it on April 14th every year around the Eastern Standard Time spot where I should. And I just stay up throughout the night watching.
I remember the post and messenger every step-by-step time frame of what happened and when. Me and Baron O.
I was, like, as much as I was engrossed in the video, I was also kind of bored.
You even warned us ahead of time. You might want to mute the chat. I'm gonna be at this for a while.
Because, like, I was caught up in this whole thing and partially bored. With no one to talk to and just messages to spam, I'm like, okay, I don't want to actually bug people, so I'm gonna give them an out.
Yeah, I kept it on. I just muted my phone. I don't know how to mute certain messaging chats for a certain amount of time. I'm checking that slightly. If we ever to figure out Discord. I'm not as tech inept as my mom, but I am tech inept.
But yeah, from the moment Carpathia actually started moving, they had every single one of their boilers on like max capacity. Their ship is being pushed to a point it was not made to sustain, and they are speeding through an ice field.
It's a miracle they didn't hit any of the icebergs.
That's exactly my point.
Okay.
Like, they were risking getting into trouble themselves to save Titanic's passengers because they knew from the get-go, this is gonna be awful. We need to help.
I'm only just laying in a laundry listening to you guys because it's nice out. I don't feel like sitting inside. I got work 2 8-hour shifts, 1 5-hour shift.
And to think, roughly an hour or so into the sinking, maybe an hour and a half closer by this point. Yeah, close to an hour and a half in, and the bow is somewhat above water.
Yep.
I honestly thought it would have been down below by now, given in the James Cameron movie, but I've since learned that movie is full of bull.
Yep.
Yeah.
Retroactive bull because they were using the most up-to-date information they had at the time, but still.
Okay.
To think, this is the disaster that I have been obsessed with since I was 8 years old.
Latios, are you okay?
I honestly have no idea anymore.
That's so funny.
We're all autistic here, so we all have our hyperfixations.
Like,
Mine swap depending on the time of day.
Like, that's genuinely, that's honestly the best way I could describe it. I'm on the autism spectrum. When I was 8 years old, just a little bit before I discovered the Titanic, I was diagnosed with Asperger's syndrome. This was my very first real hyperfixation.
Fair. But I think I just killed Bear. Bear, you good?
I'm okay.
Did you actually fall on the floor for that one?
1:05 a.m.
Yes.
After venting for so long, the Titanic's funnels finally stopped spewing steam.
I actually
really did just fall on the floor after this one.
just because the way you worded that was so fucking funny.
Yeah, it was.
Oh.
Just, are you okay?
You're not hurt, are you, Bear?
Huh?
You alright, Bear? Nothing hurt?
No, I'm not hurt. I'm not hurt.
Okay.
Good.
But yeah. Just in case you missed it, if you look at the footage, the funnels have stopped spewing steam. The extra steam pressure has finally been more or less, resolved.
Okay.
So people can actually hear now.
Bear, I'm sorry.
You're fine. You're fine.
Yeah, at this point, everybody got a good laugh. I don't see any harm done anywhere, so...
Yeah. We all have our issues. I have multiple character personalities that live in my head.
Say that again?
I have multiple character personalities that live in my head. I'm schizotypical personality disorder and autistic.
Yeah, the segment we're in is called Titanic Falls Silent because of that bit I mentioned with the steam.
Oh, so sort of like DID?
What?
DID, it's a thing some people
Dissociative
can...
identity disorder?
Yeah.
Somewhat, they're just like fun personalities I take over or cosplay them just to bring them out more, or just the voice will pop out randomly.
That is
DID.
That is what I've seen from DID.
Alistair from Hasbin tends to pop out and just go, "Hello, don't tell Angel I'm here," and then leaves.
Yeah, no, that's DID.
In my head. And I used to like roleplay the characters that sometimes feel like if they have longer hair than me, I feel like I have slightly longer hair, but ghostish.
Okay, I feel the need to poke the chat and ask, Yo, Nexus, you still there?
Yeah, I was wondering if people are still watching.
I have no idea, because it doesn't look like there's been any...
Like, the person icon says 3.
I'm watching it. It's in the corner of my screen because my screen's very dark, so I can't really tell what's going on because of the lights of the ship. I got the Discord chat taking up the whole screen. So.
Believe it or not, that is actually brightened compared to what it would have actually looked like that night.
Whoa!
That's mostly because I'm in daylight, so if the sun is kind of glaring the screen.
The distress rockets are going up.
It's mostly just me. I'm outside, so that's why the screen's a little darker for me.
Yeah, but I mean, like, it was really fucking dark that night. The
there was
lights
no
of the ship
moon.
could only do so much.
Yeah. I used to get weirded out when I never saw a moon in the sky.
Like, there's actually videos on YouTube that show you, this is what it would have actually looked like.
Leave it to you to know these videos.
And it was, like, so dark, it was near impossible to tell what was going on. So for the people who were there who could actually make out details, like, I salute you, because it is incredibly difficult to do.
Yeah.
Like, there's this one test that goes, okay, you need to full screen this video and have the room you're watching in be basically pitch black. You can't have any light if you can help it. The challenge is see if you can spot the iceberg. I did this by basically
see as it is.
I did this by full screening the video, unplugging the nightlight everybody has plugged into the bathroom, keeping the lights off, and essentially closing the door. In a pitch black bathroom and the full screen video, I still couldn't spot the berg.
Yeah, I can barely see this, but my glasses, I can't see. I'm practically blind.
Okay, let's skip ahead a little more.
Okay.
Did anyone else see all those people just pop in?
They can only do so much with the video. But yes.
They phase into his existence the second they need to leave. I'm sorry, why is Kazumi there? I'm waiting for Bear to get that joke.
I don't. I'm sorry.
Reeser Scott.
Oh.
There we go.
Okay. Let's skip ahead to like slightly after 2 hours into the video.
Why do those two look like they're about to have a fight?
Maybe they are.
Something, we're all gonna die with anyway.
You said
I'd rather die to you than die to the ocean.
Yes.
You said 2 hours?
Yeah, roughly.
I went, whoa, before we die, I'm gonna steal the speed view I've had for years.
Then we got this man over here trying to stop them, but he's too late.
So
now is not the time for Fight Club!
Man,
wait. Rule number 1!
You never
Rule
talk
about Fight Club! Don't talk about it. Don't talk about it.
Yeah, so at this stage, since we've skipped ahead, we've missed a few things, including but not limited to the gantry doors on D-Deck have been opened. The idea was that people could board lifeboats from here as they go by, but ultimately this is never actually done. Those gantry doors may or may not still be open on the wreck, if they're even still attached.
Who knows? Maybe we'll see in the VR game. Where are the gantry doors? D-Deck?
D-Deck.
I was about to say Yukio joke there. I stopped myself.
Okay, so here's a hilarious Yu-Gi-Oh thing that happened to me the other day. Since you brought that up, I'll keep it brief. I'm playing online in Master Duel in the casual servers. I come across a guy who's using tunes, and for a while, he's kicking my butt. He's using a field spell to keep me from destroying his tunes by just banishing cards from the top of his deck whenever one would be destroyed. By some miraculous fluke, I managed to fusion summon Blue Eyes Twin Burst Dragon. Its whole shtick is that it can attack twice, and it can basically banish anything it didn't immediately destroy.
This one time, when I was playing Master Duel in ranked, I
please
believe.
just let me finish. Let me finish, because this gets funny.
Sorry.
So, after I get Twin Burst Dragon out onto the field, my first target was Toon Dark Magician. He had 2 of those and some Toon Dragon thing I can't remember off the top of my head. It wasn't a Toon Blue Eyes, but like maybe a Toon Cyber Dragon or something. Either way, I end up attacking the Toon Dark Magician. The effect kicks in. 3 cards off the top of the deck are banished. Then Twin Burst effect kicks in, and the Toon Dark Magician is banished. Second attack kicks in. I attack the other dragon. Again, similar playout. 3 cards off the top of the deck, and then Twin Burst effect kicks in, and that is banished. I end up crashing my remaining Blue Eyes White Dragon, a standard vanilla monster, into the other tune just to get a few more cards off that deck. Because I figure, if I can't wipe out your life points, I will make you deck out. And then his next turn kicks in. I end my turn, his starts, he draws a card, plays, I think it was Dark Hole, and targets his own field spell to destroy it. And immediately after that, he surrenders. I'm like, what exactly were you thinking of doing that you did that? Like, what? Like, I think he just got super angry that I turned his own field spell against him with Blue Eyes Twin Burst Dragon, and he just basically rage quit.
Is this the one who called you different slurs?
Yeah, he sent me a very nasty message after the duel, and it was filled with a lot of colorful slurs.
Oh.
Like, Red even summed it up himself. Dude was a sore loser.
Yeah, my brother talks about those kind of losers because he likes making them mad just for the hell of it. The ones that go, "You're a cheater," when they're using something that's actually in the game. That he loves making those people just pissed.
Like, I seem to have this effect on people. Every time I get a decent Blue Eyes monster out onto the field, they surrender and just I get bad mouths for it.
Hey man, good game. Fuck you.
Field. Someone else gets a Blue Eyes monster on the field. Oh, big man on campus. The instant I do it, oh wait, no.
I don't play card games anymore, and why I try not to do competitive Mario.
It's kind of sad when I can say the amount of times people haven't surrendered on me and finished the duel, whether I won or lost, I can count on one hand.
Wow.
One time in particular, the opponent surrendered because I was taking too much time for my turn. Bear in mind, it was my first turn. Like, bear in mind, it was my first turn in the duel at the time, and I was trying to think of a strategy with the hand I had.
Again, they're trying to speed run the game.
And
they're doing
that's not even the worst. Like, that's not even the worst player I've ever bumped into.
Yeah, I was trying to cheer you up if they're doing a Nuzlocke. Don't mind them.
The worst duelist I bumped into on Master Duel was an absolute sadist. He was using a deck designed to banish cards and actively refused to attack me despite managing to summon up enough firepower to kill me several times over and win the duel at least twice.
Taro, what are you trying to...
In spite of all that, he just sits there watching me struggle to try to get monsters back onto the field, to get a spell card working, to try to give myself the wiggle room, only to banish the cards I tried to use and just leave me wide open.
Taro's been trying to say something.
Oh, sorry about that, Taro. You were saying?
It's fine, it's fine. One time in Master Duel, I came across this one duelist who managed to summon out his three-headed Blue Eyes White Dragon.
It's either the Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon, Neo Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon, or something to that effect.
well, Ultimate Dragon. They managed to summon that out. Little did they know, I had 2 cards that could make his monsters go away.
Oh, here we go.
All I'm gonna say is, Link Summon.
I'm still learning how to use those properly.
I was always
Fair
house
enough.
rules, so I do not understand the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! And the cards are cool. But I don't understand the actual rules. I've never played house rules with me.
Speaking of, Taro, since you say you play Master Duel, if you ever decide you'd like to duel me for any reason, you know, let me know. I'd like to actually...
Go on.
I'd like to actually duel someone who won't surrender mid-duel, you know?
Fair enough, but I usually play more Duel Links than Master Duel. Though I am considering changing that since every single one of my friends has a Blue Eyes deck, and I can never hecking attack them because he somehow managed to summon them on their first turn.
I also run a Blue Eyes deck, but I have an Elemental Heroes deck I've been experimenting with, so...
I have to ask, when you use the Blue Eyes deck, do you summon your Blue Eyes dragons on the first turn?
It depends on if I get one specific card.
Hell,
So it's up to the heart of the card.
If I draw Rage with Eyes of Blue and have no Blue Eyes in my hand at the time, that is a yes. If I have a Blue Eyes in my hand and have Rage with Eyes of Blue, no.
Hell, I was playing around the Kaiba Corp Cup in Duel Links a couple of days ago, and I found someone who had the exact same character as me, Yusei. And I thought, oh hey, someone who isn't going to summon Blue Eyes.
He
Guess
summoned
what
Blue
card
Eyes,
I
didn't
see
he?
on their first turn? Guess what card I see?
Blue Eyes?
He summoned Blue Eyes, didn't he?
He had the card that summons Blue Eyes the second it's destroyed. And at that moment, I realized, you know what? You do you. And just hit surrender. I was done.
You weren't having it anymore.
Blue Eyes.
Summons at the moment it's destroyed. What was it? Whitestone of the Ancients?
Yeah, Whitestone.
I remember hating the Blue Eyes so much that I just got really mad, and my brother spited me by backstory here. I found a bunch of fake Yu-Gi-Oh cards.
Okay, let's take a look at the Titanic here for a second, because it's actually starting to get worse.
Anyways, I'm a Skull. Bye.
Bye, Taro.
Like I was saying, if you ever decide you want to duel me, I will pick up the Elemental Heroes deck and I'll give you my best try.
Fair enough. Bruh, in Duel Links, my Elemental
I don't have Duel Links anymore, but I could probably re-download it. It'll just take me some time to rebuild a deck.
That's fair. In Duel Links, I run an Elemental Heroes deck too, alongside all the other ones as I'm trying to learn the other types of summoning. But there's one card my friends hate me for. It's Elemental Hero Lady Heat.
Oh, I know exactly what you're going for with that. That is one of my favorites too.
My friends hate me for it so much.
Burn damage.
Because I have more than one, so sometimes I get all 3 Lady Heats in my hand and I summon them. You thought you got rid of her? Well, here's another one.
It gets even better if you manage to have a full field with 3 copies of Lady Heat and 2 other elemental heroes.
Duel Links
in Master Duel, I mean.
Yeah. Oh, I love that card so much. Then we got hacking.
Because think of it like this. Okay, so let me explain Lady Heat's thing for a second. Elemental hero Lady Heat has burn damage to the opponent at the end of your turn, and at starting base 200, I think it goes up by 200 more points for every elemental hero you control. So if I manage to get a full 5-card field of elemental heroes going with 3 copies of Lady Heat, that effect is activating, dealing the same amount of damage 3 times.
Bruh. I was kind of annoyed at one of my classmates about them keep summoning Blue Eyes when I asked them not to, because it's at the point where it's no fun anymore, right? So I tell them the spell card on the face down spell card on my field is Mirror Force. It wasn't. It was not Mirror Force.
I actually enjoy using Mirror Force on people because when I saw people rage at it, like, it gives me life.
Latios, this is the part you were talking about where the crew locks arms and forms a line to prevent men from rushing the boat.
Yes. And to think, the bow is still somewhat above water.
Somewhat.
But yeah, the card I had on my field was not Mirror Force. I lied to the man telling him it was. It was hacking Feather Shot. I didn't even have an avian in my field. I just said, oh yeah, it's Mirror Force, don't attack me. So, and literally right before I ended the duel by attacking them because they didn't have any monsters on the field. They were too scared to attack me because they thought I had Mirror Force. I said, oh yeah, it ain't Mirror Force. It's Feather Shot. And just ended the duel. Am I evil?
Nice.
Yes. Am I evil? Yes. Do I care? Absolutely not.
Am I evil? Yes. Do I care? Not at all.
Anyways, now I must go. I am being called away. Bye-bye.
Bye, Taro.
Take care.
Adieu.
Okay.
He's fun.
He is.
Yep. Well, mine just to go, am I insane? Yes. Do I care? Would I? Alistair just kind of popped out of nowhere. Does that make him say yes?
I'm gonna use the bathroom. I'll be right back.
Okay. I made someone. I just remember playing Job Corps when I was describing my personality thing to my friends. They laughed that most of them are anime characters, and one of them is based off an actual person. Like, if he existed in a fantasy universe, it's still based off the looks of an actual person.
Right.
Yeah, I have one persona that's based off Andy Barasak from Black Belt Angel or something. I named him Prophet, because that's Andy's, like, code name in Black Belt Bride at the early stages. He was the Prophet. So, yeah. That'd be a weird thing to tell somebody right from there. I'm like, yeah, I have CID disorder and wanting to base off you. That'd be kind of weird.
Yeah.
So have you been there?
I've been good. I've just been doing me.
We still
My
gotta figure out one of these days to hang out so I can give you your Digivice.
Oh, right.
And your crest. I have it in my drawer right now with Sean's vital band brace thing. It's to keep the band from popping off. So me and him have that problem. Hi, Latios.
I'm back.
Okay. I was telling Bear we still gotta find a day for me to give him the Digivice, and you gotta wait till my birthday to get your vital band clip to keep the vital band from popping off your wrist. Key point, you need to slide it on the bigger end. So it slides all the way up, you button the thing, and then you slide it on.
Okay.
So to keep the band from popping out of the holes and then falling off your wrist.
Holy shit.
Oh, geez, I wasn't even paying attention. Now I see it down in the water.
Yeah, at this rate, the sinking has accelerated. We're
not,
past the point of no return.
Not even that. Like, the one end of the boat is just up in the air.
Yep.
Like I said, we are well past the point of no return.
What's everyone doing for dinner tonight?
I'll know once my parents tell me, because Bob said we'd pick something up.
Okay.
I'll know when my parents get home.
Yeah, I'm doing it's my turn to cook, then Tom and Stella go first. I gotta put their portions away. But it's loaded baked potato stuffed chicken. You heard me right. Butter noodles and Italian green beans. I try to make a portion for my mom and Stella to eat when they get home because they don't eat while they're at work. So I'm gonna eat as soon as they get home. We also finally got the windshield repaired in the car, and it's now passed only for 2-year tag.
Damn, that is just sad to look at.
Yeah.
I have no words to add that have not already been said.
Yeah.
The ship is in her death throes right now. Oh, now I thought of something I could notice. Now I thought of something I could point out. Pay close attention to how the lights start to get dimmer and brighter and dimmer again.
Yeah.
Power's starting to fail.
Yep.
Bear in mind, even now, there's still people in the ship trying to shovel coal into the remaining boilers to keep the freaking lights on. It's a losing battle. There's Collapsible B. And One of the wireless operators may or may not have been crushed underneath it. Collapsible A makes it, but its oars break. I think. Yeah. You want to know when we officially reach beginning of the end?
When? Oh.
When the first funnel starts falling.
I see lights flickering.
Like I said, trying to keep the lights on and power flowing is a losing battle at this stage. Her head's completely underwater by now. That glass dome between the two funnels, there's the grand staircase for you.
Oh, fuck.
And there's the beginning of the end. When that funnel collapsed, it opened up a whole new entrance for water to start flooding in and accelerate the sinking all over again. Soon enough, the second funnel will fall and the glass dome above the grand staircase will effectively break. It's almost like the water's friggin' clawing its way up the ship like this.
And here it goes.
Now, notice there's still some glowing going off in certain parts of the ship.
Emergency lights, I imagine.
Yes. Some passengers reported seeing faint orange glows like emergency lights even after the breakup. At this point, the bow is still just barely holding on to the stern via some of the double bottom. And it's going to pull the stern upward a bit.
Holy shit.
Wow. At some point, the double bottom gives, the bow is let go, and goes down like a torpedo.
Okay. Had to go upstairs for a little bit. Hi, baby.
The final plunge is about to begin. Wow. There's still people trapped on that.
Oh, wow.
Possibly some inside of it.
Oh yeah, the people that were like trying to shovel coal are probably all dead now.
For a moment, it settles. The Chief Baker, who was hanging on to the stern at this rate, describes what happens next as akin to going down an elevator.
Damn!
The Chief Baker would proceed to step off the ship as it goes down and swim away without getting his hair wet. "2:20. She's gone." As haunting as the screams were in the immediate aftermath, the silence that followed was worse.
Holy shit.
And it would still be another hour and some change before the Carpathia arrived.
I'm definitely giving this guy a subscribe. Yeah.
Dupixent helps you do more.
Holy shit. So that's been
especially at the very end. It's some powerful, powerful stuff.
So that's been day 2 of Titanic week.
Yep. We really should have saved this video for day 4, but hey.
I mean, it is what it is.
Yep.
Anyway, thank you all for watching. We're 3 hours in,
In a
so
sense, we're still kind of progressing in relative order. The ship was afloat day 1. We just saw it go down, and save for that bit with the VR, the remainder of the week it's gonna be underwater.
Yeah. So, thank you all for watching. This has been Vegas Bear 92, Latios, and
Sammy or Silas?
Okay. Thank you for joining us. Titanic Week will continue tomorrow with more of Titanic VR.
And more of my nonsensical commentary alongside Bear.
Yep. And we will see you then. All right.